know in preseason you were really happy with Taylor Pannell's development defensively and moving positions, but to see her performances early offensively, just how big is that, and what did you kind of see from her early this season in batter's box?
Just see a maturity about her. You know, she's really become a professional hitter, and she was already a great hitter. But her ability to shrug things off when they don't go well, her ability to take a strike if it's not what she's looking for, get comfortable hitting with 2 strikes. That's usually the progression you see when somebody becomes a very, very complete hitter, is they're willing to go deep in the count and wait for what they want, and they're good at battling with 2.
Top of the 7th, just to have the composure to put the game away. What does that show you? What do you like the most about being able to do so?
Well, you know, Karlyn Pickens, I mean, she thrives in those situations. You can see it. I wish we didn't put her in those situations as much as I feel like we have this year in some of those close games. You know, but Karlyn is going to have her teams back all the time. And when you're in a situation like that, I mean, who else do you want out there but Karlyn Pickens? No doubter.
What can the offense learn from a game like this where it's just hard to get momentum going?
Well, what we can learn is this is the kind of softball you're going to be playing in the postseason. So, you know, if you want to guarantee that you advance, you've got to have really competitive at-bats when you get the runners out there. You know, 2 innings, we got the first 2 runners on and didn't do anything with it. You know, Kinsey did a nice job laying down the bunt, but then we weren't able to capitalize. And then that last inning, I mean, we got to get the bunt down and at least give ourselves a chance. We can't have punch-outs. And I feel like our offense is too good for us to, you know, miss in those situations. We've got to do better with our 2-strike approach. I mean, at least we just get the barrel on the ball and hit something on the ground. We got a chance to do something. So I think that's the biggest thing we need to learn is, you know, I just didn't feel like we competed in some of those at-bats. And you've got to compete and, you know, hopefully not put your pitcher in that situation because, heck, they're good over there too. They're going to eventually get runners on base. And, you know, we put ourselves in a position in the 7th inning where we had to come up with a big strikeout.
How valuable is it to have a midweek quality to come in here and play a midweek like that?
Oh, it's huge, you know, and I'm really glad we're doing this, and next year we're going to go there. And once we start SEC play, it's really important to me that, you know, we don't take a dip in the quality of opponent because, you know, you get into that competitive mode mentally and you want to just keep going. And, you know, this weekend with UConn, we've got a really competitive team coming in, and, you know, next week got a competitive midweek over there in Columbia, and then our last one's Clemson. So I like the way it sets up for us, you know, just in terms of the teams we're going to face.
When you talk about your batters needing to be more competitive, is it more about confidence, aggressiveness? Where in the competitive angle in the box do you want to see them get better?
Well, it's first aggressiveness early in the at-bat. You know, and I felt like we kept the bat on our shoulder when we got what we needed to swing at. But then once you do that, when you get to 2 strikes, the approach has to completely change. And now it's, I am going to get this barrel on the ball. I'm going to put the ball in play. I'm going to, you know, shorten everything up and make something happen. So it's twofold, and I don't think we did either well in the situations we had the opportunities, which that's the deal. Against a pitching staff like that and a team like that, you don't get a ton of opportunities. So when you get them, you can't miss them.
You mentioned that Karlyn, just her composure is kind of unmatched. How early into her career here at Tennessee did you realize that she would be that kind of pitcher that when you do come down to the top of the 7th, there's no one else that you would rather be there to put the game away?
You know, Karlyn's evolution has been very cool to watch because I don't think when she was a freshman she would have had that composure. Most freshmen don't, but a lot of them never learn to have that composure because they're not willing to make an honest self-assessment of the things that they need to do different and do better. And that's been the beauty of Karlyn from day one, is she is so self-aware and so honest and so vulnerable that she's able to talk herself through, hey, this is where I'm falling short and this is where I need to grow. And her mental growth has been unbelievable.
How massive was the catch at the morning track in the 7th?
That was huge. Yeah, that was a great catch, and, you know, that's a competitor out there too. I mean, I don't think there was any way she wasn't going to catch that ball because of everything that was riding on it.
With Taylor with the ACL, you never know how a player's going to bounce back, and her start this year has obviously been fantastic. What does that just say about her and her mental fortitude to get back to where she was pre-Taylor?
Taylor Pannell?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. It was a shoulder. Yeah, that's okay. You know, last year she bounced back really well.
Right.
And the cool thing about her last year was her pre-conference numbers weren't great, we get into SEC play where the competition's better, the pitching's better, and she gets better. And again, that tells you a lot about the mental makeup of a player, and it's just fun to watch her. You know, this year we started her in the fall in right field, then we started playing her at first base, and then we moved her to third. So Taylor is a freshman. Could she have handled a lot of that movement? Maybe not. But now, just a completely different, you know, mindset and adaptability and a confidence that allows her to do a lot of things for us.
Closest win that you guys have had this year, just how beneficial is it to have that so early into when you're going through a conference slate?
Oh, I love close games. You know, the mercy rule games, okay, you'd like a few of them, but you know, you don't really get your team's attention in those kinds of games. And now's the time when the games are going to be like this more often than not. And again, if we can get into a postseason type of feel as much as possible, that's going to be good for us.
Karen, I know it's like we expect Karlyn to pitch how she does, and it just feels like she's kind of made those little steps to get better and better, hitting those 75-mile-per-hour pitches. It's easy to say, well, obviously, you know, she was SC Pitcher of the Year, but how hard is it to maintain that level and continue to get, you know, those marginal gains as she's in her pitches?
It's harder than anybody realizes, and I'm glad you recognize that, because most people, when they have the success she had last year, they come into this year putting these expectations on themselves, well, I should be better. And that's where she is so incredibly mature. And everybody on our team should want to sit down and pick her brain and learn from it, because, you know, she's humble, she's grateful, she's a super hard worker, and she doesn't go out there with this pressure on herself, even though the game puts it on her. She just, you know, strives to get a little bit better every day. And she's already so close to her potential that, like you said, those increments to get better, they're really, really hard. But her mindset allows her to do it.
Anything else?
I know you said you, in preseason, Savia, you could envision her one day being a leadoff hitter in her career. She's already there. Just what kind of led to that change for you, and what have you liked about her as a leadoff this year?
Well, the reason for it actually was when Boo got hurt. And, you know, then going into the next game, we felt like, oh, I think it's an advantage for us to put our lefties together up there at the top with her and Kinsey. And then she did so well with it that we've just kind of kept it there. And, you know, I think she's going to continue to grow. She's another one who asks really good questions, stays very emotionally calm, and that allows her to be coachable.
We know that there's a rivalry within all sports when it comes to Lady Vols and UConn. What are you guys preparing for going into UConn?
I don't know that our players have any clue about the UConn-Tennessee rivalry, and I don't know that I'm really, you know, it's probably might be a good week to teach them a little bit more about Pat Summitt. So yeah, you know, it might be some good fuel for them as we go into it. But yeah, it hasn't been something we've talked about.
Hope to have a similar result that the Lady Vols had this year.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Anything else? All right, thank you guys.
Thank you.